even though everything that she just said about me is true, even though in a few weeks I'll be celebrating actually 10 years of the anniversary of the day. No? No. Okay. One thing she didn't mention is that I'm a singer, so hopefully I can project pretty well. Okay. Can everybody hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So in a couple weeks I'll be celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the day that I actually branched off on my own and became a career coach and fulfilled my purpose, became a certified resume writer, and I became an entrepreneur. And even though I fulfilled my purpose, and even though in those past 10 years I've helped hundreds, if not thousands, of corporate professionals figure out how to avoid frustration in their job search by utilizing their time on the resources they get from the best results, and even though I've helped them fulfill their purpose, there was a day that I didn't want to get out of bed. There was a day that I had reached 6 months in transition, 8 months in transition, 10 months in transition, and I just wanted to feel the weight of my blankets and not speak to anybody. I didn't want to have to tell anybody that what I wanted to happen hasn't been happening. I don't want to tell anybody that I wasn't doing what I knew I should be doing. And I didn't want to tell people that even when I did do what I was supposed to do, I felt like a failure at it. I didn't feel like myself. There was a day that, so I had been actually living with my boyfriend at the time and his roommate. And after a few months of doing that, it was definitely getting old for the roommate, you can imagine. I wasn't really contributing to groceries or rent. You know, I did what I could around the house to help out. He would come home from work around 3:30. I'd be on the living room floor doing Pilates. And I know when he looked at me, that glare, what he was thinking was, you should be out pedaling for jobs on the street, not on the living room floor doing Pilates. And what I really wanted to tell him, even though he didn't actually outright say that to me, was that this is actually part of what I should be doing in my transition, is taking care of myself, because you don't know how it feels to walk into an interview forgetting why I was valuable. I'm supposed to be there selling my value, and I had forgotten. Tony Robbins says there's a millimeter of a difference between success and failure, and it can look like failure, success. But this isn't so easy all the time, is it? And it's really hard to fake. 1985, Deepak Chopra was one of the groundbreaking doctors who helped discover that our brain communicates with every cell in our body. Are you not a fan of Deepak Chopra?
Oh, he's okay.
Okay. I thought I saw, oh, Deepak Chopra.
That's the thing I saw with him sometimes.
And in the past 10 to 15 years, what they've also discovered is that our brain isn't just a receiver, it's a transmitter of energy. And people can pick up on things. So even if we have strategies of what to say in an interview, if we're doing this instead of this, we're going to not get the results that we want. And that is going to make us go further into this cycle of feeling like we're not valuable, we're not hireable. It's essentially a cycle of self-deprecation. And what I want to teach you today are some strategies, some techniques, as to how you can take care of yourself so that you can go from this to this authentically. Got my remote. There it is. Hi there. I think I just hit the wrong button. There we go. Okay. We're going to be talking about the difference between motivation and inspiration. We're going to be talking about how to use the force, which I believe is a true thing, and the 5 senses. We're going to be talking about how you can prepare for a flood, meaning a flood of activity, flood of offers, flood of interest, flood of introductions, how you can get into peak holistic health for whatever stage you're at. Celebrate every little thing. these are going to be practical exercises, and depending on how much time we have, and you have the outlines here of the presentation, so that if we don't have time to practice all the techniques that I built into this, because I'm used to talking for much longer, then you have a step-by-step guide for how to do some of these techniques. So one thing about motivation is that it must be yours. It's a chronic problem that we design our lives based on what other people want for us, based on what other people think is a really good thing for our lives. But it's not up to other people, it's up to us. And if we are waking up every day trying to fulfill somebody else's vision of our lives, then we have to self-generate the motivation to do what we have to do. And that's an obstacle, and it's a challenge. In those days when it's hard, nothing else is going to pull you out of bed. It has to be your own vision of your life. So motivation is also kind of a tricky thing, because it implies that you have to do work, and there is such a thing as called activation energy. When you have the thought that you should do something, and Mel Robbins says that if you don't act on it in 3 seconds, it's gone. And then you have an even further uphill battle to try to get started doing what you have to do. So activation energy is something, but that's motivation. If you create a vision of your future that inspires you, then motivation essentially isn't a tool that you need, because again, you're being pulled out of bed by something. But in the day-to-day of everything that we have to do and everything we have to deal with, the minutiae of details of life that we have to take care of, the minutiae of details of our own health we have to take care of, it can be really easy to not focus on the inspiration of what we really want for our lives. And it can also be really easy to start to believe that what we want for our lives isn't possible, so why should we bother? Well, the reason that I think we should bother thinking about the vision that we really want for our lives is, number one, because when we spend our mental energy on it, we're sending messages to our body. We're releasing good-feeling hormones in our body, because that vision should be something that makes you feel good. It should be something that gives you energy, that uplifts you. It fills every cell with disease-fighting peak opportunity and potential. And I'm talking about, don't even judge whether you think it's a viable vision or not. Just think about it. The details, your ideal day. How would you wake up every day if you could design your life? What would you do first? What would you do next? Who would you see? Who would you talk to? What would you fill your stimulus with in your environment? What activities would you like to do? What kind of contribution would you want to make? How would you want people to regard you? How would you want people to thank you? What would they say? What makes you feel good, that your heart swells? Follow that forward. So if you're having your ideal day, if you're fulfilling your purpose, if you're designing your awesome life, what would that provide to your life? Who would you be making proud of you? We're all very driven by making other people proud of us, and that's why we wind up designing our lives around what other people want for us. But once we design our own life and we fulfill it, people become proud of us, even if it's not what they thought we should do with our lives. They have really good intentions, right? They want to see us succeed, they want to see us be happy, and they have their own experiences and perceptions that they're bringing to the help that they're giving us. But it just might not be authentic to us. So don't even just think about it, but really feel how it would make you feel to have that life. And it might be hard to put those self-defeating beliefs at bay, the voices that say, that's not real, that's not possible, but you have this limit and that challenge, and these restraints. And you can just say, thank you for sharing. I'm visualizing here. See, our brain wants to protect us. If we were animals, our brain would be trying to keep us alive, sending fear signals. As human beings, our brain has evolved to warn us about things that don't have real, life-threatening components to it. We fear judgment from other people. Animals don't feel judgment from other people, right? And these are just patterns that our brain has. And some of them do serve us, but the ones that don't, we can control them. If we're conscious of them, and if we have habits and regimens that help us reverse them. And visualizing is one of those strategies to help you do that. This is also about other people who want to give you advice on how to live your life. They can be very well intended, right? But they can also have their own agenda, which they may or may not even be conscious of. They have their own self-limiting beliefs. They've had their own people in their lives tell them what's possible and what's not possible. And they bought it. They believed it. And now they want to protect you from getting hurt. Or they just want to know that they're equals to you. Don't go out and get a better life than me. They might not be doing that consciously. So a flood is coming. Besides visualizing your ideal life, I really want you to visualize what it would look like to have multiple viable opportunities for employment or self-employment coming towards you. This is a stage of career transitioning I call career autopilot. It's something I've been able to achieve for myself. I actually landed 2 jobs in the past year, just because I have invested the time in building my reputation, deepening relationships, following the same stages that I teach people. And it doesn't take very long once you have your brand and once you have your resume and your LinkedIn profile and you have all the other tools in transitioning and you know what you're supposed to say to people it's going to be authentic to you and inspire them to open up powerful introductions to opportunity for you. It gets busy. And you need a way to prepare for that. These are the things that you want to be able to keep track of. And this is practical advice, right? This is practical. So in your transition, you want to keep track of all of these things, not only because you don't want to miss out on a follow-up opportunity. You want to remember who's out there opening up doors of opportunity for you and follow up with them and thank them and follow leads. You want to do that too, but life happens. Sometimes things throw us off track. Sometimes. We can get ourselves going. We can go for maybe 2 weeks. If we're at a really good pace and we're feeling really good, something could happen, a health setback, a life setback, we get off track. And it's what we say to ourselves in our minds that keeps us from getting right back on track. It's how shameful we feel. Shame, as an emotion, does not have a whole lot of value in our lives. And in fact, at a cellular level, it's really unhealthy. When we can track everything like that, we can say, you know what, I need some time. I need a day, I need a couple days, I need a week. I'm going to take care of what needs to be taken care of. I'm going to get better. And then because I've tracked everything, I can send out just a blast email, hey guys, I need some time. Hang in there. And I can jump right back on track because I know exactly where I left off. So this isn't just a practical tool. It's a tool that will help you eliminate shame from that self-deprecation trap that we can get stuck in. Now, productivity sometimes means doing the most amount possible to people. But actually, it means doing the most in the least amount of time, spending the least amount of energy doing that. And this is also a way to do that, because when you can track everything, you can know which activities, which resources, which people have been the most helpful to you, and spend the time and energy that you do have on those things. And eliminate usually 80% of the things that have not been helpful to us at all. I just want to show you a tool. This is called the Epic Careering Toolkit. And this is a sample of, you might be an Excel whiz, you might be able to do something like this on your own. I encourage you to do so. This is a tool that helps you allocate your time. I have customized hyperlinks right here so that when it's time to get down and dirty and do my activities, I can just click on the links and go right there, except that most of these activities that are most helpful are really out in the world. So we would come back and enter this. This particular spreadsheet is actually gamified. This column actually gives you points for activities that you do. So if you need that little extra boost, that's there for you. You can see, usually the resources that people spend the most time on, that become the most frustrating, that deliver the fewest results, are these web resources right here. Out of 40 hours a week, you notice I'm only allocated 2 hours. People usually don't realize how much time they're investing on the less fruitful resources until they start tracking things. So this can be a great realization. And when you know that there's something you can change, that's in your power to change it, just spend your time on the better resources, that in itself is such an empowering feeling. This tab down here is where it's kind of like a contact management system, but I have an agenda. All these little red arrows tell me I have to enter everything in here, including the relationship, including notes, things that I learned personally about them or professionally about them that will help me follow up with them, remember who they are, remember small details, make people feel like I listened and I care about them. Everybody gets a follow-up date. You have to learn what not just what they can do for you, but what you can do for them. And when you complete the agenda, you actually get points here too. A little pick-me-up, a little boost. Now these points don't have to look like points. This is a gamified system, so it has points. I'm a gamification expert. But you can pick anything. Any exciting activity, any fun thing, any treat. I'm going to do this activity today, I'm going to get this done, and then I'm going to get myself some chocolate. Or I'm going to sit out in the sunshine for 15 minutes. Or I'm going to call my best friend, and we're just going to talk for an hour about nothing at all. Whatever gives you energy, whatever makes you feel proud. I'm going to go get my toes painted. You going to get your toes painted? This is actually, once you have a lot of activity and you have a lot of offers, you need to be able to find out which one is the right one for you. These are drop-down menus where you would go through and pick what your criteria are based on all of these different things, culture, size, revenue, all the way down to culture, different things about hours, shifts, reporting structure. All right, this is work. It is work. It's like sharpening your axe though. The more work you do in the front end, the easier and less arduous it is to chop down a tree, right? And then you would put your target companies here, and as you research them, because that's actually a huge component if you notice from the first spreadsheet, you would say, does it meet the criteria, yes or no? You might not learn everything from the internet or your network, but then it calculates how good of a fit it is for you. Now you can use your gut, you can use your heart to pick an opportunity, but this logical input can be really big when you have multiple viable opportunities in play. And then every day you would have a little list to get you ready for the next day. Holistic health would be all of these components. Okay, so we just talked a little bit about maybe social health, how you even though sometimes you don't want to report to people how awful your job search has been and how awful you feel sometimes, it's important to have friends around. If you don't feel like talking about it, then don't talk about it. Talk about things that are uplifting, do things that are fun. Emotional health, we're going to talk about some things that will help you adjust your emotional health. Intellectual health. I know that you all have particular challenges with optimizing your health in some of these areas. So it's really just about doing what you can, not neglecting any parts of this. Environmental, making sure that there's things in your environment that set you up for success as well as things that uplift you. Physical, as much as you can do. So we talked about treating yourself. This guy looks like he's in a bathroom and he has bowling pins, and I don't know what that's supposed to mean for this guy, but I thought it was he's really happy there's bowling pins in his bathroom. Besides treating yourself, I want you to actually say to yourself every day that I am enough, I have enough, I do enough. I am enough, I have enough, I do enough. And feel good about that. And if you want to do a little dance, do a little dance. There's a lot to the mind-body connection. So whatever way you can move to connect that good feeling in your brain, connect that good feeling in your brain. Okay, so we talked about habit-forming rituals. These are some things that I've tried. Some of them I do every day. There's an artist called Krishna Das. He does music that's Indian in nature. It's like an invocation. And I found that I try to wake up early and I try to do my ritual before my kids get up. And it's really hard to just get myself in an energy mode. I'm usually a late nighter and a late waker. So I found that if I wake up and I can just muster up enough energy to push play on actually YouTube and listen to some Krishna Das, in 10 minutes I feel awake. I'm also excited for my day. I'm visualizing what my ideal day is going to look like and what my ideal future is. Remember why I'm doing what I do. Remember that I get to do it, not that I have to do it. I journal. You can use your journal for gratitude. Gratitude is a huge, if you have shame, you can flip it right away just by remembering what you're grateful for. Making a mental list or a written list. 5 things you're grateful for, 10 things you're grateful for. Me and my daughters have this trick whenever we get ornery. We remind each other when we get ornery to make a list of things we're grateful for, to say it out loud to each other. My daughter Daisy will say, Mommy, I think you need to list some things you're grateful for. And I'm like, yeah. And then you know what? I might say 3 things, but by the end of those 3 things, I'm feeling lighter. Complete shift. A vision board where you can take pictures of things that you want in your future. The angel is something that I learned from an acupuncturist years ago when I had a flex spending account and I could afford an acupuncturist. But she told me that I store my emotions in my stomach, and I had IBS and I had pains all over, and so she told me one way that I can alleviate some of the problems with my stomach actually was to relieve my emotions, release them. And she taught me this trick, which looks more like I'm trying to fly than an angel, but it's... I taught my mother-in-law this trick. She uses it.
A daily exercise?
This is just when you feel the emotions building up. When you feel physical symptoms from your emotions, when you can be self-aware enough to realize that you're feeling bad and there's an emotional component to it. Just get those emotions out. Portfolio praise was really important. important to me was a trick that I learned when I was in that 10-month transition. Because I needed to go into an interview and tell them why I was so great after not feeling like I was so great. I had to call up my old boss and I had to say, this isn't going well. I have 4 companies. They keep telling me that after months and months and months they want to hire me, but they can't get the financial approval. She says, well, you don't need those 4 companies. I'm like, but I do. And she's like, you were great. And she gave me a list and she goes, here, write this down. And I wrote it down. She was actually the owner of a recruiting firm, an executive recruiting firm, and now she's also a career coach, just like me. And she was my first career coach during this time. Thank God. But it took me a long time to reach out for help. Too long. Should have done it much sooner. But this portfolio of praise. Remember what you did that was so great. Remember how you got valued. It didn't have to be appreciated by anybody else, but it made you feel good to do it. Brought you a sense of pride. Write that down. Those little emails that people send you like, hey, thanks a lot for going the extra mile. If you can dig those up, put them in a binder so you can remember them. So you might have noticed me over here before we started. I had my hand on my heart. I was actually doing this same meditation. And I was taught this by a candidate when I was an IT recruiter. And he told me, I want you to teach all of your candidates this because it's a really great thing to do before an interview. So he walked me through this meditation. I've been doing it ever since. That was like 12, 13 years ago. But just picturing a time, let me see how much time we have. How much time do we have?
It's 11:48.
So are we overtime right now?
No, you're about 20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay, good. All right, so we're gonna try this. Everybody put your hand on your heart. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. That's right. I see your eyes open. With your out breath, I want you to try to feel your heartbeat with the palm of your hand. That's right. You might be noticing that it's slowing down, even as you feel it. That's right. It's called biofeedback. Just the fact that you're paying attention to signs in your body makes a change. You have the power to do this. That's right. Take 2 more deep breaths. I want you to think about a time when you felt truly appreciated. Put yourself there physically. Look around the room. Who's there? What are they wearing? What are you wearing? How does the fabric feel against your skin? Is there a breeze? Is it still? Is there an air conditioner? What kind of sounds are you hearing? What colors are standing out to you? Take another deep breath in. Notice again how your heartbeat has slowed down. Now look at the faces that are there. Whatever you've done, you have made a huge contribution to these people. And they love you, and you can feel that love. It's filling you up. You feel that in your heart. You feel how that warmth just travels through your shoulders, your scalp, your arms, hands. Feel it dripping into your belly, down through your legs, all the way down to your feet and toes. bounces back up to your heart. Kind of like a circuit that's completed. When it gets to your heart, it expands like a big sun. You're sending that love right back to everyone there. Feel proud. Feel connected. Feel powerful. We're going to count from 5 to 1. You might feel your heartbeat slowly getting a little faster as you become more alert. 5, 4. Start to feel your body parts again. Be aware that they're there. 3, 2. Gradually become more alert. Open your eyes. And 1. I'm here guiding you through that, but that's absolutely something that you can do for yourself. How does everybody feel right now? Relaxed. Relaxed? Does this feel like a better state of mind to be in going into an interview or a networking event? The more you do that, the more your mind will send health signals to every cell in your body. You want to make sure that at this time, since we have these hazards these days, you turn off your phone, shut the door, and I have 2 little ones, so finding a quiet space in my house is not easy. But that didn't take very long, did it? So we talked a little bit about visualization. I told you I do it when I first wake up. You can do it throughout the day. You can do it for 18 seconds. You can do it for 36 seconds. Just continue on doing it because it can be very hard to quiet those voices. Gradually, as you tell those voices to shut up, I'm visualizing here, they'll get quieter. And you can actually replace them with beliefs that serve you much better. This is actually something that goes by many names, and there's different variations of it. These are things that I actually learned because there were things in my life that I realized that I had to change. That meditation I just showed you was something that I started to do before I was interviewing candidates, to build better rapport with candidates that I was interviewing. Then, as I said, I'm a singer, I started to do it before performances. And I felt different getting up on stage. I felt connected to the people that I was with. Made a huge difference in my level of enjoyment of life in general, as well as all those different events. This is something where we can think about the traumas in our life. And it's really funny how traumas work because our brains are meaning-making machines, and things happen and we create meanings for them, and these become beliefs that drive decisions for the rest of our lives. And we may not even know that they're in control until we notice them. But if we can think about the trauma or the anxiety that we feel about certain things, fears that we have about certain things, we can minimize, if not eliminate, the physical impact that they have on us and take away their power to make decisions for us so that we can make better decisions that serve our life. And this has been called the Sedona method, the peace process, the instant miracle. And this this doesn't take very long either. I'm going to ask you to think about something that causes you anxiety. I might not get you down to a 0 today, but if I can ask you to gauge that level of anxiety, that physical response to that stimulus on a scale of 1 to 10 as to how you feel it, how strong is it? Just tell yourself how strong that is. Now I want you to close your eyes so that you can block out anything that's visual and focus more on your body, the internal signals that you're getting, and find out where in your body that feeling is the strongest. Feel it in your neck? Is there pain in your neck, literally? Your shoulders tight? Is your chest? Do you feel heaviness on your chest? Is there a knot in your stomach? Does your lower back get tight? Where is it the strongest? What we resist persists. We might be able to fool ourselves on a regular basis that we're hiding it well, but our body knows better. And these are messages our body is trying to tell us about it. So with your eyes closed, I want you to listen to what that part of your body has to say. And I want you to send it love and acceptance. Acknowledge it. It's been needing you to acknowledge it. Really feel the sensations of it. Send it love and acceptance. And notice if it's going down or getting stronger. If it's getting stronger, you're not listening enough. It's still trying to tell you something. Thank it. Thank it for telling you what you need to know. Promise that you will listen. Take a deep breath and forcefully blow out through your mouth like this. Continue to send it love and acceptance. Don't care if you sound silly. It's trying to talk to you. Don't ignore it. Get stronger. Don't ignore it. How many people here have recognized that their sensation went down on the scale? Okay, good. Good. So you can actually continue this process, and you can do it in pieces, you can do it all at once. I would recommend doing it all at once if you have that quiet space in your house to do it. Do it until it's a 0. You can do this on fear of flying, speaking, trauma. There's a lot of different things that you can try this on. I am, just so you know, not certified in any of these different things. But I've been coached a lot in them. And this is one particular thing that I've learned from a certified practitioner. And you can try it for yourself. Has anyone heard of timeline therapy? How much time do we have? Okay. I'd like you to try this on your own. We only have 5 minutes, and I want to make sure that I at least have 5 minutes for any questions. But just so you know, what I've been teaching you is this portion of what I offer. Because I recognized as a career coach earlier on, so I was working with a victim of Katrina, that it takes a lot more than just practical know-how to get yourself into a better position in your career and your life. And I needed these things as well, to bring myself into a point where I could be confident and happy in my life and what I was offering to other people. I had my own blocks self-limiting beliefs that I've had to work through so that I could be my best self to help other people. If any of you are interested in services or tools or anything that I offer, then I want you to know that there's a discount code that's going to be good for a week. Gives you 20% off. I wouldn't want to come here and tell you how helpful I can be and not give you a way to get a discount on your services, right? That would be a fair thing to do. So I also have cards with that discount code, but hopefully you'll be taking them home. And I'd like to answer any questions you might have about any of the content I've been delivering or anything otherwise. Yes?
Is it a good idea just to try the LinkedIn thing, the 3 months?
Yes. But I would wait until your LinkedIn profile is optimized.
Yeah.
Yes. Any other questions? Her question was, is it a good idea to take advantage of the LinkedIn free trial, the premium membership? And I said, yes, but wait till your profile is optimized, meaning wait till you have your profile to the point where it's selling your unique value, and it sounds like you talking about the passion that you have for what you want to do and the contribution that you're driven to make. The great thing about LinkedIn is that it's not a resume, and it's supposed to sound like you. And a trick that I even give to people is to dictate your story into your phone or into a computer, and then edit it from there. You have 2,000 characters in your summary, and it's where people want to know the backstory. They want to know your achievements and that you're accomplished and qualified, but they also want to know who is this person behind these accomplishments. So it's much easier to write your LinkedIn profile. Yes?
I had someone tell me that my profile was too homey and touchy-feely.
Okay.
Is that, I mean, they wanted me more professional.
Okay. So somebody told her that her profile was too homey and touchy-feely. And you are not on LinkedIn to be everything to everybody. You have one profile, and you are who you are. Do I recommend you have a professional profile picture? Yes, I do. Do I recommend that you put forth your best professional self? Yes, I do. But if where you know you're going to thrive is a place that appreciates the open-hearted person that you are, then be touchy-feely. That's who you are, and you're not going to thrive in a place that is cold business. Let them hire somebody who's cold business. Yes?
Before you started speaking, someone said you do what with resumes?
I'm a certified professional resume writer.
Oh, all right. So do that mean you look at people's resumes?
I do. I do a lot of looking at resumes. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, can you look at when you can?
Sure. I'm happy to. Yeah. Yeah. If anybody wants to come up and show me the resume, I'm happy to get feedback on it. Any other questions? Yes. Great.
What if somebody wants to do a complete career change?
Okay, so a complete career change is what she's asking about. Not cut and dry for everybody, obviously, right? There's actually 2 services I provide for that phase of career transitioning called Career Discovery. One is a focus consultation, and that is for people who the whole world of opportunity is out there. It could be anything. It could look like anything. They just know that what they have been doing is not what they want to continue doing. That's a one-on-one consultation. It's 90 minutes. The deliverable that you get from that meeting is that there's no more than 3 options as opposed to some of the personality assessments that give you 20 options for your life, and then a guide as to how you follow up to determine which one is the right one for you. Then there's also a research and debriefing service. That's actually for people who have one big piece of the puzzle filled in. They know they want that same role, that they want a completely different kind of culture, company, environment, or they know that they like this industry, but they don't like what they've been doing in it, and they want to see what else is available for them. And then there's the book that's coming out, how to fulfill your passion and purpose in 30 days. And that's more of a 30-day journaling guide as to the questions that you can ask yourself that are based on your past experience, as well as the things that are intrinsic, internal in you, like a self-awareness exercise, to determine if you already know. A lot of people already know. They already have that dream. They just decided long ago that it wasn't possible somehow, and yet somebody else is doing it. And it's really just those self-limiting beliefs sometimes that make us believe that it's just not something for us. So before I offer any of these services, I have a consultation, a free consultation with people to say, is there something you already knew you wanted to do and you just automatically assumed that just wasn't possible for you? That happens more times than not. And it's really then just like, okay, first of all, let's test this in the market to see if there's a need. Is anybody else doing it? That's all you really need to know. And even if nobody else is doing it, is there a need for it? Somebody needs you. Then it becomes more about devising the plan and branding you and figuring out how to identify the people who need you, and that's it. Moving on. Yeah.
That sounds like you wrapped up. That's what I do battling with, because I myself was like in a career shift. Now that I'm in, I said, well, I'm not PMS. I'm still there for Duncan. However, I've had so many in my circle saying, well, maybe you should consider this, or maybe you should need to do that, or maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. And I'm saying, but I hear that innate ability, so I tried to start writing. I'm journaling, and I said, well, let me write a book.
Yeah.
And I had a publisher approach me. She oversaw that. She said, it was my little coach again. I felt that passive discrimination again. And then she says, oh, well, but. When I get the but, that's a red flag.
Are you expecting a butt?
I didn't accept the but. I was
No, not accept. Expect.
Oh,
Sounds like you're expecting it.
passively,
Subconsciously?
kind of, sort of, because I was letting this hinder me.
Yeah.
I was letting it hinder me because she was kind of sort of, again, it was discriminatory, knowing that my content was potent information, and she knew she couldn't take that. But I said, I know the law.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, ma'am, just give me this and this, just thank you. You know, and I'll take her and keep going. So, but now I said I have to shift now. I gotta find a woman too. She's, good luck.
Well, some will, some won't. Next. I mean, there's two things that can happen. You know, one is that there's an interest in your book. You have to celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that you were approached by a publisher. That's awesome. You know what that means? There's an interest in the content. Whatever her objection was is her objection. Somebody else won't have that objection. You think about the successful authors. How many of them tell you that they were rejected by 10, dozens, hundreds of publishers before they were actually published? So many of them. So many of my favorite authors have that same story. Someone out there wants your story out there. And you can't let that one person suppress that story. And the expectation that they're going to eventually find a reason to discriminate against you could be something that you're actually projecting in your brain as well.
Because I felt her trying to, like, don't let me interject or share this story with somebody. It's like this moment over. Oh, when you go on Amazon, you do that. I said, I read the whole script, ma'am. I know this already. I'm on that computer too. I have world right internet. Come on. But she kept kind of passively discriminating, encouraging me to get this out. And she wants me to stay in this chair. Stay in it.
Don't let her
Tell that story.
Don't let her.
Don't help somebody. Don't. I said, no, there's something over there that they need to hear this.
Don't you let her. I mean, you might need to self-publish. You might need to sell many different copies of it, of a different version of it, a pared down version of it.
Okay.
I mean, if you're a first-time author, I found that they want to know that you can attract a crowd. And if you can go out there with your content and attract attention with a blog, something small you can do, it's more manageable, then whatever risks they perceive in their head, which may or may have nothing to do with what you are afraid they're discriminating against you for, that will overcome whatever fears or risks they perceive about it. So keep on going. Someone out there needs your story.
I talk too much and a lot of people are waiting.
Use the peace process on that. Okay, I think I'm out of time, but I really appreciate the attention that you guys gave me.
Thank you.
I would love to help you out.